Okay, welcome back everyone from the short break. And we want to continue with the presentations. Before the break, the group doing the introduction, South Africa, Namibia, and Liberia, were able to present and we gave them feedback. So now let's try to go back to Ghana and Malawi for the teaching outline and see if they are ready to present so that we can walk through all of that before coming back to the PowerPoints. So, Sister Catherine from Malawi, are you here with us? Are you ready to present?
Yes.
Okay, so I'm going to share the screen again, and then
All right.
have another opportunity to present.
All right.
Okay, you may proceed.
Okay. I'm presenting group 1. We have a lesson plan for question 1, which says why faith is important in healthcare. So here's the outline: importance of faith in healthcare, scientific research. Science says so. There are 3 categories: clinical reference, patient beliefs, best practices. God's call, that is witness, salt, light, and introduction of John's journey with case facts. So I'll go to activity 1, which says John's journey. And the purpose is introducing the role play patient who will be seen and interacted throughout the training, finding case facts for John's journey. John returns to the hospital after he had previously made a remarkable physical recovery. And we'll look into a question: what did we miss? Okay, I should go first to the procedure for activity 1, which is introducing John's case, explanation of case fact, that is through a role play. And the procedure for activity 1.2 is to allow participants to answer questions: what did we miss on the John's journey? The second one. Okay, then I'll go to activity 1.3, which is the reverence of spiritual health. The purpose is participants to understand the relationship between faith and health in a healthcare, and to allow participants
We don't hear Sister Catherine anymore. Can anyone from Malawi take over? I think you are muted, Sister Catherine.
I'm back.
Okay.
Yeah,
You may proceed. Is she still there?
Yes.
Please proceed.
All right. So I was on activity 1.3, the reverence of spiritual faith. The purpose is for participants to understand the relationship between faith and health in a healthcare, allow participants to make decisions on God's call as witnesses, salt, and light, and the procedure will be discussion in small groups, participants' experiences on reverence of spiritual health, and also briefly explain the John's journey on the second visit. Learning objectives are to understand that the influence of spirituality on health and medical treatment is confirmed by an abundance of scientific research, to be aware of the fact that people receiving healthcare are often open to discussing spiritual matters when they are approached with permission, sensitivity, and respect. To remember that God's call to treat the whole person is due to our identity in Christ of being salt and light in the world. So this is the heart of the silent process. To assess when and how scientific justification can open the way of discussion with our patients about spiritual matters, facilitating the integration of faith in our patients' interaction in keeping God's call. The potential problems, we have communication barrier. This is to mean there can be a communication barrier. That is if the participants are of different departments. Others are healthy workers, others are not healthy workers. So if you are presenting more of scientific words, others may not be able to understand what you are telling them. So this can be a potential problem. And time management, like this is because having less time to present because of discussing the same issues. Yeah, this is to mean that let's say you are presenting your presentation and like the scientific research, and the participants are more interested on knowing knowing more about the research rather than the facts that you are telling them. So this can also create a problem.
We can't hear you anymore. Okay, we can't hear Sister Catherine anymore, but I think we get the gist of what she's sharing. Yeah, we really can't hear her. So I'll just stop sharing. And is there anything that anyone would like to add to what she has said regarding the outline for question 1? Any comments, any suggestions? Okay, if there are no comments and no
Brother Tim, just on potential problems, she spoke about sometimes people can be carried away by research and not pay attention to the facts being said. But I've also discovered that sometimes science can be very, very boring. In fact, that's one thing that put me off the first time the saline solution as a course was introduced. Now, because they have worked on it and it sounds good, it's more entertaining than before. But that aspect of science can really be boring. So we need to to be careful when we present it, that we don't put off the people.
Okay, thanks for that feedback. Great. So I don't know if Malawi is ready to present the PowerPoint for question 1 so that we know we are done with Malawi and question 1. Malawi, are you ready? So now put to practice what you've just shared as you present question 1.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Let's hope we'll not have a network problem again, but I'm the one also presenting. Question 1.
Are you going to share screen or do I share screen from this side?
I think you share screen.
Okay.
You share me.
I'm going to share screen for you as you present question 1.
Okay.
Your 15 minutes starts now.
Okay. But the slide is not shown.
The slide is showing on the screen. Question 1, why is faith important in healthcare?
Okay, so I'll just explain because my screen doesn't show.
Is
So it will
anyone
be
else
just big.
having a similar problem, or can you all see the slide?
We can see the slide.
I can see from
We
my
can see
side.
the slide.
Okay. So you may proceed, Sister Catherine.
I can see it.
I'm rewinding the clock. Your 15 minutes starts now.
I think with the problem of not seeing the slide, I think it will be a problem to be. Maybe my colleague can help me if they are able to see the slide. Because I can't see the slide.
Anybody from Malawi wants to help? Let me try to share again, and let's see if you can see it this time.
Okay. I can't see.
It could be your device then, because clearly the slide is showing.
Yeah, maybe it has the problem now because previously I was able to see it.
Okay, we'll come back to Malawi. Group 2. Kenya, are you ready to present? Kenya, are you ready to present?
Brother Egon. Brother Egon and Brother Dan.
Okay, before we come to Kenya, let me come back to Ghana. With your teaching plan, is Ghana ready? Brother Joe. Brother Joe, are you ready with the teaching plan presentation?
Yes, I'm ready.
Okay, go ahead and present.
Yes, I'm ready.
You can go ahead.
Okay. Yes. Our question is question 5. Where do I go from here? And our outline is basically to catch the vision of our place in God's agenda and be ready to work with the Lord by applying the C-line process. Because after going through the first question, second, third, and the fourth, we should have seen ourselves, should have seen our position, we should have seen what's expected of us. We should have got a clear picture of ourselves and the work of the Lord in our workplace. Then the activity 1 has to do with praying for the ability to reach out, to teach others, especially health workers, on the need to recognize the opportunities that may come their way. And then encourage the colleagues to work for Christ in our workplace. The procedure has to do with praying for ourselves, praying for our colleagues, and praying for our participants as well. This will require an action plan to do the do as expected of us. So we need to see the opportunities and the doors or the open doors that are available for us to monitor vital signs so as to be the light in the darkness and trust in the Lord for the results. With all the teaching so far, we know God is at work. We just have to make ourselves ready and available, willing and committed. then the Lord will work through us. Knowing it alone is not sufficient, but doing is really very important. So look at some of the learning objectives. Learning objectives, we want to understand. Number one is to understand the basic concepts of using the tools. If you go through the process, the questions, we should be able to have the appropriate understanding regarding the concepts and how to use them. Number two is to define an action plan and then how to make it handy so that when you draw the plan, you can make it workable, applicable to the best of your understanding. So you plan it the way it's supposed to be. Third one is to understand how to connect with other Christian health workers, especially through the Saline online community. Since we have been informed that it's not alone work, but it's a teamwork. So we need help all the time, and there's sufficient support for us all the time. So that's one of our learning objectives. The next one has to do to be free from the guilt the enemy uses to manipulate us, especially preventing us from focusing on being witnesses for Christ in our workplaces. In view of these learning objectives, we can see some potential problems. The main one here is feeling incapable or unqualified to be a witness for Christ. For some reasons, perhaps you think you are not living right, or you have not learned enough, or you don't have what it takes to work for the Lord. That could be a potential problem for carrying out the action plan. What then is there in the training tips? The need to make questions 5 workable and possible. The need to make question 5 a working question or working concept as much as possible cannot be overemphasized. Then we must ensure that learners or we assimilate the concepts very well during the training. The concept must be assimilated in our own understanding and the way it is supposed to be presented. Then the lessons learned must be well implemented. Implementation is also very important in the training tips. There must certainly be active involvement and clear commitment. That's where we may need to share our personal experience, how it happened to us, how we're able to do it. But this involvement and commitment, making it clear, has to do with writing it down, write down exactly what you want to do and how you want to do it. Then we need to assist participants to be doers of the plan. One of the ways of ensuring doing the plan is to keep accountability groups. Somebody that can encourage you or remind you to follow the plan as put on paper, as put down. Then the trainers too must give the opportunity to the learners to pray together, because planning or putting on paper alone is not sufficient, but we need to enforce it spiritually through prayer. Then we have to ensure that there's regular prayer for the plan for the team members. So the trainers must have a prayer plan for the trainers as well, or participants as well. So the training becomes very effective. In addition, we have to invite the participants to join the online community. Usually, when we add the event to the site, then we can send invitation. So it's important we put add the event on the site. The procedure has to do with going to the resources. Then from the resources, you go to the trainer preparation. Then you can go to the site procedures for trainers. this one will need to be demonstrated so that it's not just theory. So I hope Brother Tim will help us to operationalize it practical so that it will be done. Then we let the trainers know that they will receive invitation from the line at ihsglobal.org. Then they need to click on register now when they receive the invitation. So the process of actually introducing the participant to the line community must be demonstrated very well. Then, if possible, you have to invite your group the night before or the morning of the final training, day. How do we do that? By following the instructions. How to invite groups. So how to invite groups is another procedure or window that we can find at the site. Then we follow it to help our groups to get on board. You have to follow the email collection guidelines in the templates provided. So there are templates provided for how to hook on to the community as well. So basically, this is how the training plan is for implementing all that we will learn from the first to the fourth question in question 5. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Brother Joe. I would hand over to Brother Ugochukwu to handle this feedback session. Brother Ugochukwu, are you still with us?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, proceed.
Okay, so listen to the question 5 outline. Do we have any contributions to add or any comments? We know question 5 is the final part of the presentation, and I don't know if they give us, Brother Joe, the training tips. Not quite sure if I got that. Hello? It was Joe that spoke.
Hello? Yes.
No. Okay, I wanted to clarify if you gave the training tips for question 5.
Yes.
Okay.
I've mentioned them.
Okay.
I can go over them if you're
Any other?
if next.
It's okay. Yes, any comments? Something they added? Anyone, you can just unmute and speak. Yes? Sister John?
Can you hear me?
Hello, who is speaking?
Can I go on?
Yeah, go on.
Okay, thank you. First of all, I appreciate the participant for the good work, and for putting on in all the effort of composing and drinking all that. I'm not sure if he talked about filling the evaluation by the participants. I am not sure but I see when his question.
Hello, we can't hear Brother Timbo Charles again. But you got the point he was making, Brother Joe, that the evaluation form, emphasis on filling the evaluation form, which comes up at the end of question 5,
Yes.
is also important to be captured.
Yes, you are right. You are right. It is
All
omitted.
right. Okay. So
Sorry.
it's a very important one.
Yes.
It's okay. Thank you for that observation, Brother Charles. Any other comments?
They use their time well.
Okay.
Yeah.
Brother Sige.
Yes. The presenter was audible because we were able to listen to the whole content he was sharing.
Okay. That's fine. Any other? I think it was a good presentation. It covered the essential components of the presentation in the learning objective, the training tips, the potential problems. Because it's the end, we are trying to rush, we are trying to finish up. Some people being focused to finish up. It's also a presentation that requires action plan and having people to commit to a definite action plan and how to follow up on that. These are some of the things that are important to note so that we guard against and plan for them to make sure we achieve success in getting the participants to have a definite action plan, because that is what will affect what they will do after the training. Thank you very much, Brother Joe and Tim. Over to you, Brother Tim.
Thank you, Brother Tim. I don't know if Malawi is ready to continue with question 1. We lost Sister Catherine at some point, but she's back now, I hope. Even though it looks like her screen is frozen. Okay, which other group is ready to present the PowerPoints? Group 2, are you ready?
Yes.
Okay, so are you going to share screen, or you like me to share screen from here?
You can share from there.
Okay, I'm going to share screen for question 2, and you will have exactly 15 minutes to do your presentation. Okay, let me share screen. Okay, so Kenya, this is question 2, and your 15 minutes starts about now.
Okay, thank you. Okay, thank you. I'm Josephat, a biomedical engineer from Kenya. What are the opportunities? What are the opportunities and barriers for fulfilling God's call? I think you can go to the next slide. Yeah, what are the opportunities? So you're chosen by God to be the salt, the light, and witnesses. The active agent in that is the Holy Spirit. So next slide. So the light.
Excuse me.
You are very fast. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm trying to get the right slide. I think this is the one.
Okay. So we said, what are the opportunities? So we have been chosen by God to be the salt and the light, and also to witness. There are the scriptures there written, Colossians 4:6, about the salt, about the light, Matthew 5:14 to 16, and about witnessing, Acts 1:8. So the active ingredient is the Holy Spirit. He's able to coordinate in all that. So I can say the opportunity God have given us to work in the hospital, such that we can be able to work together with Him. Next slide. Salt and light. Activity 2.1. What would salt and light, being a follower of Christ, look like in your healthcare settings? Does it have any impact on your daily task in your healthcare settings? Next. God is at work in our workplaces, also in our lives, in the life of our patients. So we join Him in the work. So when we are working in the hospital, we are there not only to be on our specific duties, but it's also to work together with God, such that we can be able to win people to Christ. Next. Okay. Okay, you are very fast. Okay.
Okay, there we go.
Okay, about the healthcare profession, we are privileged to be in that position because it's a special way of even people coming in the hospital without even us telling them to come. So God have placed us there with a purpose to win souls. Next. Every week, more people walk through the doors of hospitals than through the doors of churches. When you are healthy, you look out horizontally. But when you are sick and lying down, you look up vertically to God, as per Francis Green, founder, Healthcare Christian Fellowship International. So to come to the hospital, people are not forced. They just come voluntarily to seek for health care. And we have the opportunity to tell them about the word of God. We as the salt. Next, please. What prevents us from introducing our patients to Jesus? There are barriers in ourselves and barriers in our patients. So sometimes there are barriers in the work, the hospital workers, or even the patients. They have barriers. Next. So we have the survey of barriers. Okay.
Sorry, this slide keeps jumping around, but this is the right one.
Yeah, okay. So there are barriers in ourselves. In large groups, discuss some of the barriers that prevent you from integrating your faith in Christ into your healthcare praise. So there are many barriers. There are 3. Next slide. Okay, survey of barriers. Sometimes there is a lack of time, uncertain about how to take a spiritual history, identify patients who desire spiritual discussion, manage spiritual issues brought up, lack of experience or training, concern with projection, own beliefs, difficulty using appropriate language, negative attitude of peers. So those are some of the barriers, uncertain on how to take a spiritual history, maybe of the patient. Next. So we have 1, emotional barriers, intellectual barriers, navigational barriers. But those are the barriers in patients: emotional, intellectual, and volitional barriers. In emotional barriers, there is the denial, indifference, mistrust, antagonism. So sometimes the patient can have the denial and maybe they cannot open up, or mistrust to the hospital or the doctors or the hospital personnel. Next. Intellectual barriers. There is the ignorance, misconception, erroneous beliefs. So there can be ignorance. Maybe they don't want to share, or somebody can ignore even the beliefs of the patient. Maybe the beliefs they have. Next. Volitional barriers is social pressure, practical pressures, and unwillingness. Maybe the patient can just keep quiet. They don't want to share anything. Or maybe around the social, maybe the social pressures from other people and the practical pressures. Next. So if the barriers are not there, the patient will meet with Jesus Christ and they will have a good time together and a sorrow will be won.
Brother Dan was to demonstrate. Daniel Gishoy.
Dan?
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much, Elizabeth and Joseph. Yeah, I was to demonstrate on barriers. And on a barriers, we have 2 types of barriers. We have what prevent us from introducing our patient to Jesus. We have barriers which are 2. One is ourselves, and barriers from the patients. So on ourselves, what make us not to reach or not to be a witness to the patient? We call it a professional barrier. Sometimes we just there, we don't want to maybe to reach out to that person and introduce Jesus Christ to our patient. So there is another barrier, which is a barrier to now in our patients, which are three, as our brother has said. But there is emotional barriers. Emotional barriers. Emotional barriers. These are generally based on having bad experiences. Maybe this person has another information, and he had something that maybe Jesus or introducing Jesus Christ was a tool by the West people to navigate through during the colonization. So you work with this person to remove that emotional barrier. That is now you make sure that denial is not there, indifferences is not there, mistrust is not there, antagonism is not there. So you make sure that this person, you create something that is so trustworthy between you and this person. By doing that, you are now that process is called cultivating. You are cultivating the ground to make sure that now you work with this person very well. Then from there, you'll have intellectual barriers. This person can face can have intellectual barriers, and this is a mind problem. Maybe this person has something as an experience from the mind. Yeah, there is an ignorance and misconception and erroneous beliefs. So this person is so much ignorant about Christ, so he cannot reach to that, to Christ. And then lastly, there is operational barriers, which is the problem, which are the problem of the will. This is a person now, he's just there now. He is willing to give his life to Christ, but now there are some other things that is drawing him back or her back. There are some small things that is drawing this person back. He's willing, but there is things that are drawing him back. So I was asking if it is possible, I can demonstrate a very short thing here to show the barriers and how you can let your patient come closer to Christ. So I don't know if I'll be able to do that. I will try my best. Yeah. Now, in our case here, I have just used a very common tools in my small house here. We assume this is your patient, and this is emotional barrier. This is intellectual barrier, and this is salvation barrier, and this is Christ. So when you introduce on, and when you sow something, you cultivate, not sowing. You cultivate. You give this person time. When you give him time, and that thing start eating in his heart and steering his heart. Now this person will come back to you when he is willing to open up to you. You will have won that emotional barrier, and this person will now be facing the two barriers left. And when you come now to intellectual barrier, now here you are sowing, and here you are trying to fight with the beliefs and the mind of this person, and you remove the ignorance and misconceptions that this person has. When this person is now willing to reason, and this can be done when you give this person some notes, you suggest some spiritual videos for him to watch, movies, such kind of things. So this will help him or her to overcome the intellectual barriers. So, and this person will come closer and closer to Christ. So he will remain with the barriers of will. And this barrier of will, it's what we are calling violation of barrier. So when you become closer to him, and this barrier, most of these barriers, the patient's barrier are spiritual in nature, and so more prayer is needed for these barriers to be removed. So because they are natural in nature, they are spiritual in nature. This means that all these barriers, you just pray your part and you leave the rest to God. Like now the barrier of will, this vibrational barrier, this person to change his mind and to make sure that now that no matter what has gone through, maybe I was backslidden and now I'm asking myself, does God really love me? Is he going to bring me back to his love? Am I equal to other Christians? Will I be equal to other Christians when I come back to Christ? When that person is able to do that, now he will overcome that barrier and he will meet with Christ. That is the how you can walk as a witness to through all these barriers with your patient to make sure that that patient has reached to Christ, and you will celebrate later because the soul will be won. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Group 2. And your time is up. We gave you actually extra 2 minutes to wrap up. I want to hand over to Brother Tim Uchendu for the feedback session for question 2.
Okay. Can you hear me?
Proceed.
Hello. Okay. Thank you once again for a wonderful one, Group 2, and that's wonderful demonstration. Can we have our comments? What they did well before we now make a comment on how they can improve. So first, what they did well. If you have any observation, any praise for them. Yes, Brother Albert.
Hello.
Yes, Brother Albert. Go ahead.
Just want to give a feedback on what has been presented here. I just like the way they have presented it in such a way that they demonstrated it so that we have been able to see something that it can be still in our mind that we will never forget Israel. So to comment on that is that congratulations, they have used a good way of presenting that information so that keep it in our mind. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So they had a pictorial demonstration that registers in the mind of the participants, something that we'll always remember. We've seen it, and we'll always remember those bottles, personal effect bottles, and then the Bible. Thank you for using the Bible for Christ. When I saw the bottles, I was wondering what you were going to use for Christ. So we will always remember those things and how they were being taken out one after the other. That's a very good way of making a demonstration. Yes, any other comments on how they did well?
Hello? Do you hear
Yes,
me?
Sister Pustileti. Yes, go ahead.
Brother. I just want to congratulate the team. You know, the way they were flowing with the content, relax and able to explain what they wanted to explain with such a passion. Yeah, we felt captured. We really followed what they wanted to say, and well done.
Thank you very much. So we say well done. Yes, Sophia.
They also tried to use the time that they had effectively, in that they covered a lot in that short time.
Okay. That was a very good one. Time management. Thank you very much, Sister Sophia. Any other person with praises? All right, so we've noted they had they were audible, the confidence was there, and they were conversant with the slides, and they did a very wonderful demonstration, practical enough for us to remember that part of activity of the patient barriers, and it was well explained for us to understand it and follow it. So thank you so much too. Can we now have comments on what they can do better when next they are teaching, training, or facilitating these slides again? What can they do better? Can we have our comments on what they can do better? Okay. Sister Sophia, is your hand raised or is it the old hand?
I think it's the old one, but I can raise it.
Okay, if you have a comment for improvements, can you go ahead?
Okay, yeah, in as much as they used the time effectively, it would have been better for them to explain some of the things, especially the activities about salt. They simply showed without explaining anything.
Okay. Yeah, the activity. And when they came to that point, they just read it and went on to the next slide. Yes, Brother Albert.
Yes, to agree on that point. There are too much content, so that it was very difficult to catch some information. So at least they must improve, like making it easier, so that it may be captured. Sure.
Okay. Yes, Sister Pustileti.
Yeah, I also think that they needed to engage the participant. You know, we are on this platform where sometimes you might not even know whether people are there or they are, listening. So it's for us to engage them. So I suggest that they really engage the participant. Another thing, again, I don't know whether it's a network problem, but we have realized, or if you just make your face visible just for us to see who is speaking to us, and then you can now close it. But those are the things that I would like the improvement upon.
Okay. I'm sure they are taking notes of these comments because these are feedbacks for a better presentation tomorrow when you have an opportunity to facilitate and conduct a training. So it's a good way of communicating virtually to at least show your face, even if it doesn't stay on through the presentation. Let us see the face of the person presenting to us. Thank you very much on that. Yes, any other person? I'm only seeing Sister Puseleso's hand up. I'm not sure if I have any other person's hand up. If it's an old hand, just you can bring it down. Okay. My device is limited in seeing more hands. Okay, Brother Tim, go ahead, sir.
Just a further comments on the activities. And I want to take us back to the lesson plan. Because when we present the PowerPoints, we're supposed to implement what we have prepared from our lesson plan. Presentation is implementation of the lesson plan. And in the lesson plan, we have two activities. Lesson plan for question 2. Activity 2.1, activity 2.2. In the lesson plan, it says, what is the purpose of the activity? So you need to keep that in mind when you get to those activities. Lesson plan also says, how do you do those activities? What is the procedure? Now, we didn't see that come through in the presentation of the PowerPoint. So you need to implement what you've written in your lesson plan. The procedure, how do you do it? Now, it's important to note that whenever you have activities, that is an opportunity for you to engage the participants. There are group activities, there are individual activities, and in this case, you have an activity where, like activity 2.1, where you are supposed to engage the participants on professional barriers in ourselves. You can just ask one or two of them, what are some of the barriers that prevent you from, and then they will raise their hands and they'll speak. That's audience participation. Before you now go to what the summary of the survey says. Same with the second activity 2.2. So take note of what you have written or proposed in your lesson plan and implement when you present the PowerPoint. And that shows that you've really learned from the first activity or exercise we did of first developing a lesson plan before now presenting. So what you present should be based on that lesson plan, which is why we have asked each group to stay with the question whose lesson plan they have prepared. But otherwise, I was really fascinated by the role play, the demonstration of the barriers. I think that was very creative. So well done, Group 2. Well done.
Thank you very much. Group 2, you did very well practically, and there is room for improvements. And we've noted particularly on the issue of activity. They are meant to be done. And in a training like this comment will maybe benefit those who are yet to present theirs. If you have this limited time to make your presentation, at least make an effort to do the activity. Try to explain what should have been done. But in a formal training, it should be done. But in this type of short assessment of you presenting, at least make an attempt. Explain what should have been done if we are doing a formal training. And you can even ask questions. Maybe once one person responds, you get on with the next slide because you have this short time to deliver of 15 minutes. So, but always have it in mind that these activities are very important in getting the participants at speed with you, the facilitator, so that you are moving together and making sure that they are learning what you are trying to communicate. I also noted that the first presenter went through the patient barriers before I think that was Brother Dan, now came to give the illustration. To save time and allow time for other things like the activity, you can do that at the same time so that you manage your time very well. One person doesn't need to finish it, and another person comes again to start from beginning to demonstrate it. So that's just the observation I also made. So thank you very, very much. Thank you, and back to Brother Tim.
Thank you, Brother Ogochukwu. This is the first time for most of you, we understand. And that's why we give feedback. We don't expect perfection. We just want to see the effort, right? So please don't feel bad about feedback. Feedback helps you to become a better trainer, a better presenter. So please take our feedback in good faith. That's what makes us strong. The more feedback we get, the better we become when we go and implement. So let's take another 5 minutes break. Sister Pusele, so I still see a hand. I don't know if it's an old hand or a new one. I assume it's an old hand. So let's take another 5 minutes break. And then when we come back, we will see if Malawi is ready. If not, then we go to group 3, which is Uganda. Okay, 5 minutes break.